What's going on, fragrance family out there on YouTube land? Thanks for joining me here on my channel, Steven Sturgill. I'll be your host if you allow me to for the next couple of minutes. Been on a huge oud kick, guys, and so today I'm continuing that theme somewhat with taking a look today at St. Dupont Paris Noble Wood, or Noble Bois, Nobile, Bois Nobile. Empty because the bottle is out over here. Let me grab it. And let's see where. Anyways, made in France. And I'll tell you a funny little story about St. Dupont before we get into the fragrances, this fragrance. I've got another one on the next episode of another St. Dupont fragrance. That one is Royal Amber. Have to wait for that one to find out about it. So, first things first, St. Dupont obviously has a tremendous heritage and a lot of history. So, you can feel free to go to Wikipedia and read the whole article, but just very briefly talk about some other touch points. They started initially making lighters, very high dollar, beautiful collectible pens. Those are still worth quite a bit, as are the original lighters. Handbags, a la House of Hermes. Businessman briefcases and satchels. And also perfumes under the license of Interparfum. And also cigarettes made by Philip Morris International. And some other gadgets, blah, 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 blah. Founder of the brand was Simon Tissot Dupont. Of course, Tissot of the famous Swiss watch origin. But Simon was born in Savoy in 1847, so around the time that Sherlock Holmes, fictionally, would have been more or less at the peak of his crime-solving activities, etc., etc. All the way, well, not the peak, but certainly the early years at any rate. Initially they'd founded a carriage company, which was destroyed in a fire in 1872. Bought a workshop, which made leather briefs for diplomats, businessmen. Ended up becoming a supplier to one of the world's largest shops, Le Grand Magasin de Louvre, while maintaining his very high dollar private clientele. Handed his company over to his sons, Lucien and Andre, in 1919, who began trading under the name of Les Filles de St. Dupont. Ended up with a very large shop, lots of workers. Ended up being invited by Cartier to New York City, to, I assume, probably lower Manhattan or somewhere around that area, wherever Fifth Avenue is. And unfortunately, around the time of the Wall Street crash, went back to Paris and decided to only really cater to upscale, rich clientele that were unaffected by the crash. And I don't know how true this is, but the little snippet here of text claims that from 58 to 63, all lighters created by St. Dupont were constructed literally of 18 carats solid gold, with 3% brass. So I can only imagine what those are worth, if that's true. Buyer beware if you get out there on eBay or some collector's house and try to buy one of those. You're probably going to, A, pay through the roof, and B, watch out for knockoffs, is all I can say. But pretty interesting. Sad, not sad, depends how you view such things. You know, Jaguar recently was sold hook, line, and sinker, as I understand it, to the Indian steel magnate Tata Steel, which maybe is karmic justice. I don't know. You know, for all the years that they were under the British heel and boot, not all bad came out of that, but there was a lot of bad to go around, certainly. But then India wouldn't speak such good English if it weren't for the Brit. I'm not trying to make light of that, seriously, but they wouldn't speak such good English if it weren't for the British occupation for all those years. At any rate, what I'm getting at is that, I always thought of ST Dupont as the quintessential French company. They're made in France. It's as French could be. What I did not know, though, was that in 1987, they were sold to Dixon Concepts, which I believe is pretty much wholly owned by the Chinese, Hong Kong-based billionaire Dixon Poon. So really, ST Dupont has been a Chinese-owned, or predominantly owned and shared, I think, as I understand it, company. They certainly own a huge chunk of change in the company. If they're not the outright owner, they're certainly one of the major super players in ST Dupont. He also acquired Bertolucci SA, the manufacturer of luxury Swiss watches, back in 2005. And a little side tidbit, two side tidbits. They owned the 20-plus year distributorship for Ralph Lauren Polo products in Asia, which ended after, I think, around 22-plus years back in 2009, which roughly contributed to about 10% of their gross estimated revenues. And as one last interesting side note, I don't know how many of you guys have enjoyed watching Jackie Chan movies over the years, but Michelle Yeoh has featured in a lot of Hong Kong super cinema alongside the likes of Pierce Brosnan in the James Bond film, certainly Jackie Chan multiple times, Jet Li multiple times, and I believe one of my all-time favorite actors, still active, the other guy, Donnie Yen. So it's interesting that Dixon Poon is the rich guy, director, media mogul that actually gave Michelle Yeoh her launch in an initial, I think, 1987 or 86 commercial, maybe even before that, commercial alongside Jackie Chan. And then her career was launched shortly thereafter. And then she suspended her film career in 88 to marry the guy. And she married Dixon Poon, and then I think they divorced, I want to say, in 1991. So pretty awesome little histories and interweaving webs of connectedness. And just shows really what a small world it is, as large as we think it is. Nearly everybody knows somebody, and we never know the connections that exist. So I just thought that'd be interesting. If it wasn't, I apologize, but it is to me. I'm a huge cinephile, and especially Asia file, and especially as it comes to cinema. So, okay, back to the fragrance. Couldn't find a nose for this, guys. Noble Wood. What are we supposed to be getting? We are supposed to be getting... And it's not really ultra clear what the actual... We know there's amber, it's woody, it's a little bit animalic, balsamic, and powdery. And I would certainly agree wholeheartedly with those main accords. There's a lot of amber. There's something like tonka bean, vanilla, maybe just a hint of vetiver. There's definitely a little bit of vanilla, enough to notice. There's oud, but it's very clean and very mild, almost a designer style oud, but yet it has sort of a niche quality as well. It's powdery, it's soft. It's kind of a neat fragrance because it's on the one hand, it's not a beast mode at all. I mean, you could comfortably wear this with 5 to 8 spritzes and wait 30 minutes to an hour before you go out, and you should be fine. But it seems to remain on the body for many hours, and as you sweat, not to be gross, I believe it's going to reactivate some of the scent and give you continued projection throughout the day. Having said that, it doesn't have strong projection, so I think this is office safe. It smells niche. It smells expensive, as it should. I mean, my God, look at this bottle. Does it get any ritzier than that? I mean, that's mirror polish, and this texture thing is sort of laser engraved or whatever, or stamped. Just a gorgeous cap, gorgeous bottle, gorgeous box. Not that it matters, but this is the Royal Amber that we'll be looking at next time. They're identical otherwise. This is the Noble Wood that we're looking at. And this is said to be an oud-based fragrance. But again, the oud in here, guys, is very mild, very clean, very soft, very sophisticated. There's lots of little ambery accords going on here. There's some powder. I believe there's some vanilla. There might be some tonka and just a baby's hint of vetiver. I believe there are a couple of florals, but they're very, very mild and soft. And they're more akin to sort of like what I call dirty floral. Like when you mix something herbaceous or herbal, like thyme or rosemary with something floral, but very, very minuscule, very, very light, very much in the base or in the background. It's hard to know what all is actually in here, as they're not totally listing it. Again, it's a little bit woodsy. It's quite a bit woodsy. What am I saying? But the way it's blended with that vanilla and the amber and just a hint of oud, very, very interesting. Yeah, what am I saying? There's more than a hint of oud in here, but it's a very, very woodsy, clean oud, if that makes sense. Projection, again, is soft. This is a very mature, sensual scent. But I do think it's very versatile. I think you could get away with wearing this on a lot of different occasions. It's not a beast mode frag. Having said that, probably if you go past 5 to 6 spritzes, you should use some caution, because even though I don't consider this a beast mode frag, there's a high degree of probability that if you're working in closed environs, like the cubicle lifestyle, or even someone that's very sensitive to fragrances, they may pick up more than I am picking up on in terms of projection. So again, user beware, use caution. Again, this smells niche, it smells expensive, it smells high dollar. I do wish it was a little bit more ballsier in terms of more forward in your face. I wish it had a little more kick and oomph, but it really does smell elite, niche, posh, elegant, and dare I say very French. So get your nose on this. I'm not sure how easy it is to come by samples, but guys, I was told online by somebody that these retailed in Paris for around 150 euros. So that's about 160 US. And you can get these off discounters here in the US for as little as 44 bucks and change for the tester model, and about $50 to $52 for an all-in, full-on box. And sorry, that's the amber again. But yeah, box and bottle, with the cap. Gorgeous presentation, gorgeous scent. It easily smells niche. I'll let your nose be the judge. Get your nose on this. Get a sample if you can. If you want to pull the trigger and blind buy it at 50 bucks a bottle, I don't see what you're waiting on. This is a no-brainer as far as I'm concerned. But we all do not smell the same. And we do not all like the same type of fragrances. So end user beware. That's my 2 cents on it. I will see you next time, hopefully for Royal Amber, if we don't decide to do something different. Got the contest coming up. Reminder, that will end July the 31st. Check out my episode for full-on guidelines about that. And I will see you next time. Spray often, spray well, and live life on your terms, not someone else's. Life's too short. Love you guys. Much love, happiness, and peace. Next time.